Hello, this is Dan Olds with Gabriel Consulting Group with yet another HPC webcast. Well, we're only 10 weeks away from SC11, which is the biggest supercomputing show in the world. It's going to be kicking off in Seattle during the second week of November, and we figured this would be a good time to get a preview of the show. Today we have SC11 Chair Scott Lathrop to talk with us. Scott has been around the industry for quite a while. He's been at more than 20 years at the National Center for Supercomputer Applications in Illinois. Also deeply involved in the Extreme Science and Engineering Discovery Environment, which is an initiative devoted to giving scientists better access to computing resources, expertise, and each other, and has been a part of SC as an organization for 22 years. How you doing, Scott?
Oh, very good. It's a pleasure to talk with you today and with the community at large.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time. And I guess the first question is, we're talking about the Seattle and Washington this year, right?
That's true. We're going to be meeting together in Seattle, Washington for a tremendous conference.
And some pretty good seafood as well.
Absolutely.
Gotta like that. And if you being from Illinois, it's nice to see the ocean.
Seattle is such a tremendous draw because you have the ocean nearby and the mountains nearby. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone. A lot of interesting activities in the surrounding area.
Well, and it's an easy shot for me. I'm in Portland, Oregon, so that's nice to have it close.
And I think it's really nice for the attendees of the conference because Seattle is such an active city. So once people are done with their sessions during the day, there's a lot of nightlife, a lot of activities, good food, lots of activities.
Oh, it'll be great. Flipping over to the first slide here, the themes, a lot of communities and connections and things like that. So what's going on this year with that?
Well, traditionally, the conference strength has really been in the technical program and the exhibits, bringing together the latest technology developments. But we recognize that all of this depends on the people that are involved, and so we're really putting the emphasis on the people this year. And what we hear regularly from attendees, it's that opportunity to come together, interact with colleagues they've known for a number of years and meeting new people, sharing ideas, challenges, and solutions. So we're really focusing on how people come together to utilize and build on what they learn from one another and from the conference, too.
I also noticed the words non-traditional fields of science. Anything on phrenology, which is the science of reading the bumps on people's skulls in order to figure them out?
I really don't expect we're going to see any of that at the conference, but when we talk about non-traditional fields, we're talking more about areas of science such as humanities and social science, where we're seeing tremendous growth in terms of interest in what high-performance computing has to offer.
An awful lot of research going on in those areas, absolutely. Moving on, and data intensive. This is something we talked about a little bit in the pre-call, and there's a lot of folks out there that would say that HPC and supercomputing is already pretty damn data intensive. What's different now?
I don't think anything is different other than we're seeing a larger scale, a larger emphasis on this. We're seeing it literally in every field of science. When we talked about the thrust and what is it that would be most cross-cutting for the attendees, it was really data that jumped out for us. And we're seeing it in numerous scientific projects where they're collecting phenomenal data sets, data collections, and we're just seeing that grow beyond any scale anyone predicted even a few years ago.
And we're seeing a lot more of that on the business side with analytics, enterprise analytics, predictive analytics in business as well. And that's something that's just going to grow and grow and grow.
Absolutely. I don't think we know how large it's going to get, but we know it's a critical issue, and we need to spend time talking about what are the solutions, what is it people can do to address the challenge in front of them.
Absolutely, and that's going to be one of the things that I see is there's a very going to be a very close connection between HPC and business and government organizations. And HPC is they're the folks that have the keys into how to analyze these sort of big data sets and how to get the most out of them.
That's right. And we're going to see a lot of this both in the sessions and the technical program. We're going to see exhibitors bringing new products and new services to the table. And from a communities program perspective, we really want to instill in the next generation some of the approaches they should be learning now so that they can be ready to address large data collections when they get involved in their future careers.
Well, let's take a look at the next slide, which is the technical program. And that's one of the great things about SC is that they do have such a robust set of sessions and classrooms and birds of feathers and panels and things like that. Looks like more of it this time, maybe even more than ever before.
So yeah, we had a tremendous outpouring from the community. We had more submissions for the technical program this year than ever before, over 300 submissions. And it just shows the desire and the need to share with one another about what are some of the approaches, one of the challenges that they can work on together.
And the technical sessions, they kick off on Saturday this year or Sunday?
The technical program kicks off Sunday with both tutorials and workshops.
Okay, and it looks like it's going all day Friday too.
That's correct. This year we've expanded the program on Friday, in part to give more opportunities for this exchange, but also because we think there's a large community in the Seattle region that can draw people in on that final end of the week session.
And actually hitting the next slide, 74 papers, 94 birds of feather topics, 34 tutorials, just an awful lot of stuff. And it looks like more than 10,000 attendees again.
Yeah, we're certainly expecting to have a tremendous outpouring from the community. We're expecting the numbers to be at least as good as last year and probably better because of everything we've talked about already, the draw of the Seattle area and the increased interest from the community in what we saw in terms of submissions.
Excellent. Taking a look at Exhibit Hall, this one's a little bit different. We have a couple of floors rather than just one big, huge floor.
That's correct. People that attended SC05 may recall that we split the exhibit hall between two floors. This year, we're using both the 4th floor and the 6th floor of the convention center, and we'll be using the entire 6th floor. So it'll be a larger exhibit hall than we had in SC05. And in fact, we have more exhibitors than any previous SC conference this year.
Good. And lounge and coffee on the 6th floor? Is
That's
that
right.
Enticement to get people up there?
We're working to draw people to both floors, but in particular, we're going to have this lounge and coffee for people on the 6th floor to help them unwind a little and still have this community option to connect with one another.
And giveaways to the exhibit hall visitors, eh?
That's right. We always like to have something to draw people into the exhibit hall and encourage them to spend time talking with exhibitors about some of the products and services that are being offered.
Okay, well, good. There's always plenty of swag at these things, too.
Yes, there is, and we were just helping to add to that.
And getting into the communities program, a lot of outreach here, which is typical for supercomputing for the shows.
Yes, the communities program really does try to bring in people that have traditionally not been involved in the conference to help make them aware of some of the approaches, the technologies, the solutions, and a particular emphasis on drawing not only a larger international audience, but also students from around the world, because the students are the future of the community.
And that's one of the things I've become a big fan of is that student cluster competition. That I started getting involved with that last year and was fascinated by it, and I'm going to be doing a lot more coverage of it this year.
Oh, that's fabulous. Yeah, the student cluster competition has really sparked the interest of students from a number of new universities. So it's always a big draw, and it's particularly good that it has such strong support from numerous vendors too. Yeah.
I just wish there was a little bit more room for more teams, but it's tough the logistics get tough.
Indeed, we run out of space, but we know in the future conferences will have even more room, so hopefully these programs can grow even further.
Excellent. And then next slide, a lot of awards are going to be given out at SC11 as usual.
Yeah, this is really a chance to recognize the true leaders, the true innovators in the community. The the Gordon Bell, the Seymour Cray, and the Sidney Fernbach have been around for quite some time, recognizing that distinguished talent. The Ken Kennedy Award was created a few years ago in his memory, and again extends this recognition to people that are making a huge difference in the community. And then the George Michael Fellowship is really to help the next generation of the PhD students that are on the verge of becoming practitioners themselves, and really helps give them a push to get deeper into HPC and their own research.
It's nice to do this at the show where they can get recognition from the entire community.
Absolutely. And so in particular this year for SC11, we're going to announce the Seymour Cray, Sidney Fernbach, and Ken Kennedy Award winners Tuesday morning, right before the keynote presentation, to really give the kind of recognition for these kinds of awards and the talent and the expertise of the people receiving these awards, and also to thank the societies for their support of these awards and the conference series in general.
That's good. In my memory, it seems like that stuff usually came later in the week.
That's correct.
And I think moving it earlier is a good move.
Yeah, it really helps draw attention to true leaders in the field, and that's why we're doing it first thing right before the keynote to give very strong visibility to this effort.
Excellent. And of course, SciNet will be up, and we were talking on the pre-call trying to figure out how much more bandwidth that's going to bring to the Seattle area. Quite a bit with 100 miles of fiber, and actually going to have 100 gigabit for the first time.
Our hope is that we'll have at least 100 gigabit, and we're still working to hopefully raise that even further. But it will be a phenomenal networking infrastructure, and surpasses what you can find in most facilities and most cities. It's a phenomenal effort by a lot of volunteers to make this happen.
And I know I'll be there recording some video blogs, and I'll be sure and get some more stats and pictures and video of it, hopefully going up.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more information for you as we get closer, no doubt.
Well, and that's the next slide here coming soon. There is going to be a lot more information on the exhibits, the programs, the speakers, all of that. And on this last slide here, here's the places where people can go to get more information. And I see SC's on Facebook, huh?
Indeed. We've got a strong following among Facebook, Twitter, and such. In fact, I think we've got almost approaching 3,000 people following us on Twitter. So it's a great way for to learn about what's happening, but also for people to interact with one another once they get to the show and say, hey, something exciting here. Come on over and join us. Very good.
And I know that we'll be having lots of coverage in the Register, and I know that I'm going to be doing a pretty heavy coverage of the student cluster competition again. And I'm looking forward to a great conference. Anything else you want to tell the people out there, Scott?
Well, I really appreciate you and the Register and others out there helping to spread the word. We want to get the word out so people know about the event and are able to join us and connect with one another, with colleagues across the world.
That'll be great, and we're looking forward to it, and we'll check back in and get more of the news out as soon as it happens. So thank you again for your time, Scott.
And thank you. Look forward to seeing you and the rest of the community at the conference.
Same here. We'll talk to you later.
Tremendous. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.